Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my review of Superman and Lois, the best of Smallville. I got that right because last week, for some weird reason, I was like, yes, the best of Smallville. Being a complete pleb, not realising that it was a week ahead in terms of the listing that I had had. So me and Jasper, we sat down and watched this, didn't we, mate? He was enthralled, as you can tell. He absolutely loved it. So much so, he's absolutely shattered right now. Hence why he looks like he's ignoring me. Anyway, I still really like this show. I genuinely do. And I get the criticisms. There's a lot of people that are like, why are we watching Superman run around and be a house man? Like, he's just a husband. And I'm like, but I think this is good because it adds new layers to Superman. And they're going about quite inventive ways of having people go up against him in terms of him being the Superman persona as well. And this episode was no different to that. It's developing this story with Morgan Edge lurking in the wings and basically building a Kryptonian superpowered army, which I think there's more to that as well. And I really quite like. I genuinely like it. I just think it's juggling the narrative of Clark Kent and Superman really well and blurring the lines between them. So we'll start at the start. Basically, the best of Smallville pertains to this harvest festival, right? And I liked that. Like, it's wholesome, it's nice. You can see Clark Kent running around, basically going, it's so good, and trying to get his family into it. And it's that dynamic of city dwellers and country folk. You know, the primarily city folk were like, not really bothered by this. Why are you so excited, Clark? And he's like, yeah, but it's because of this and because of this. And I've got fond memories because of, Martha and, all this kind of stuff. And that's really nice. It's good. It's good to see Clark Kent being Clark Kent and having that innocent wonder that he would have as Superman, because it goes back to that earnestness that I've been saying is missing from comic books and comic book movies for a really long time now, because we went just too gritty, too harsh, too dour. And I think this skirts the line really well, because there are grittiness, narrative structures in this show specifically as well. But it always goes back to that earnestness as well. So basically, that's the primary focus. There's this festival harvest thing going on, Harvest Festival. And in that, we start to get the pieces of the puzzle start to come back together, right? So we have, in 2 episodes previously, we had a employee who was working with Morgan Edge, who went missing, and his mother obviously came to Lois Lane and was like, there's a story here. And she was like, definitely there's a story here. She came back because her boy came back. Odd, right? Obviously he's come back and he's superpowered. Which gets revealed to us because they donate some stuff to the Harvest Festival, Harvest, whatever, and he starts feeling really, really unwell. So he says, "I'm just gonna go get some more things from the car, Mum." And he buggers off and he goes off into this room, and his eyes light up, and he just sets the place on fire, unintentionally, but he sets the place on fire. And in that, we then get Lex Luthor coming back, and I do think it's Lex now. He's only been called Captain Luthor. He might not be Lex, but I think he is, because he's got all these gadgets, and he's like, yeah, well, I work with technology and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, it sounds like Lex Luthor. He is in Smallville because he's tracked down Lois Lane. He's tracked down Lois Lane because he knows that wherever Lois is, typically speaking, Superman is as well. Smart. I like that. It seems like an obvious thing that no one else seems to point out. I like the fact that they've done it in this show. I think that's good. I give them credit for that. And so, he's here. He's back in the fray because he was missing from 2 episodes. Now, when the building gets set on fire by murder Kryptonian boy, who's not a Kryptonian, but you get my point. He's got Kryptonian powers. Superman flies in, and obviously, he flies in as Clark Kent, and he frosts the place up, he stops the fire, and then he buggers off. Now, this guy comes back again. So he goes missing after this fire, and Lois is obviously on the hunt, as is her boss. Now, her boss, I think, is setting up that she may get in some sticky situations moving forwards, because she, the boss of Lois Lane, tracks them down. And tracks them down to a machine. a room, you know, a dirty, gritty room building somewhere, whatever. Tracks him down. And he goes in. It's what it looks like. I don't know, like a CAT scan machine or something like that. But obviously it's infusing this yellow, like X-kryptonite, I think they called it. This yellow kryptonite. They're infusing this kryptonite into this man. And he says, in some dialogue, when Superman tracks him down, well, one, he calls Superman Kal-El. But in the dialogue, so that's a big reveal. In the dialogue, he says, I'm already dead, I've been resurrected. Now, he's talking like he's someone else. He knows details about Superman that he shouldn't know. Morgan Edge shouldn't know the name of Kal-El. It shouldn't be something which Morgan Edge just gives this lowly guy. So I'm trying to think to myself, like, well, what is this X-kryptonite then? How are these people getting superpowers? And I think to myself, maybe this X-kryptonite is something to do with the... What do they call it? Is it the negative zone? I don't think they call it the negative zone. But you know what I mean. The zone where Kryptonians get banished. I think it might be the negative zone. But besides the point. So I'm thinking that maybe that is setting that up further down the line. Because the dialogue was very strange. And it was intentionally strange. But anyway, he kills himself. He goes off and flies away from Superman, who obviously takes chase. And he kills himself. They get shot out the sky by Lex Luthor because he's lurking in the wings. He gets a beep off of his computer and he's like, there they are. I'm going to go and shoot them out the sky. So he does. But this guy, after delivering said weird dialogue, he closes his eyes and he does the optic blast into his own face. That's how I can say it happened. I don't know whether it was, but that's what it looked like. And he just blows up, just crumbles away. And then Superman is left there going, well, I think something's going on here. He was talking like he was someone else. He mentioned resurrection. What's going on? So I liked that a lot. I thought that was good. Now, I've not watched any of the crossovers, the Elseworld stuff, so I don't know whether this is now connecting up to any of that crap. I don't know. I'm not interested in watching them. Couldn't give a toss. But I liked that. Narratively, good stuff for Superman to deal with. Because Superman naturally can only deal with people that are on his level, right? Or they have technology like sonic blast guns, whatever. But he has to deal with people that are on his level. And it does become a bit boring just having Kryptonians. So having a thread with Morgan Edge come in, basically making Kryptonian soldiers, I think that that's quite a smart way of doing it. Because it adds an air of mystery there. So I like that a lot. Now, second thing... We know that Lex Luthor, he followed him, tracked them all down, Captain Lex. It's revealed that actually he had married Lois in his universe. Another interesting dynamic. I thought that was really quite smart. I thought that was really, really good. Because you're sowing the seeds of interpersonal conflict here. And also... greater issues other than what they'd already established. They'd established some pretty big issues because in his world, Superman went mental and obviously just murdered everyone. Black suit Superman, basically. So I like that. I think that's good. But I also think this goes some way to explain why in his world, Superman was a mentalist and just murdering everyone because he didn't have Lois. And maybe that'll set something up moving further down the line. That Lois will maybe gets up for grabs, almost could die, something like that. And that could set up some narrative structure for Superman maybe going evil. Now, on the topic of the boys and the family situation, because obviously Superman's got boys in this show, I liked how they were dealing with it. Because during this whole episode, I've skirted around quite a few stuff here, but that was me dealing with the Superman stuff. Clark Kent stuff. He kept having flashbacks to his younger days. Liked it. Actually, quite a good way of doing it. Because it worked with the context of this particular episode. If they did it all the time, no, it'd be garbage. But I like that they were doing it for this one. It gave us a bit of background on Martha a little bit more, what she meant to everyone as a town, what she meant to Clark, and also the lessons that he's taking from those flashbacks in dealing with his own boys. And again, it's just good. Some of it's soap opera-y, but at its core, it's still a superhero show. And I think it's doing it in a really smart way. I rate this show. I do feel like it's slowing down a little bit here. Now, I do know that it's going to be taking a break. I don't know whether it's from now. It's taking a break soon because they got wrapped up in the COVID stuff and they weren't able to finish up the season 1. So it feels like it's slowing down a little bit, but that could be narrative structure to build to a big crescendo for the end of the season. Or writers, they just sort of, knew COVID was here and they had to sort of whittle it down. I don't know. But I like this show a lot. I think it's very, very good. And it's nice to watch something on a weekly basis that you just watch and go, yeah, this is cool. Like, it's not perfect. Some of the boys still annoy me. But again, they're supposed to. They're kids. Kids piss me off anyway. Because they're just whiny, little annoying idiots for the majority of the time. But they are supposed to. But it's not perfect. But it's not trying to be perfect. It doesn't masquerade itself as perfect. It doesn't try and do anything that it can't do within the realms of its budget. There's no like excessive CGI that makes it go, oof. It's a good show, and I like watching it, and I highly recommend it. So there you go, there's my episode review. Let me know what you think down below. Are you still watching it? Are you still on board? Let me know. Still like the cinematography, still like the music. I like what they're doing with Morgan Age. I really quite like what they're doing with Captain Luthor. I want to see where all of this develops and where it goes, and that's the thing. It has me engaged now. It's succeeded as a show. Whereas Batwoman, I watched for morbid curiosity. It's ironically. I'm watching it ironically to review for you guys. I'm watching it because it's absolutely atrocious. That is just a soap opera of a bunch of lesbians running around going, you're a lesbian, I'm a lesbian, he's a lesbian, bloody Jasper's a lesbian. Like, everyone's a lesbian in that show. This show, I don't know the sexual orientation of anyone, really. And that's great. I don't need to know it. So anyway, let me know what you think down below. Highly recommend it. If you aren't watching it, watch it. Cheers. Take care.